roll, please.
Guerrero, here. Kent,
Here.
Leeper, here. Pearson,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Stahl,
Here.
Welding.
Here.
Okay, Mr. Meadows, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, recognition of visitors, we have none. So we'll go and need a motion to enter closed session for the reasons stated on the agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Glenda Welby, is there a second?
Second.
I'm gonna go with Martha Leeper. Call roll, please.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Welding,
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes. So I need a motion to accept the closed session minutes as read in closed session.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
Linda Weldy, call roll, please.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Welding,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Okay. And go through all of the closed session. Motion to employ Lindsay Hale as intermediate special education teacher effective at the beginning of the 2021 school year.
So moved.
And that was James Kent or Jeff Stahl?
I think it was Jay.
Jay.
Jay, okay. And seconded by Roger Reed. Call roll, please.
Stahl,
Yes.
Welding,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, Pearson,
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to employ the summer help as listed. Custodians, 5.5 hours per day, Caleb Rutherford. Grounds crew, 5.5 hours per day, Michael Lee, James Marksberry. Unit office assistant, 12 hours per week, Beth Stacy.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't
have
have
it.
that.
okay, we need a motion in here.
So, who made the motion, I'm sorry?
Just no.
Jeff Stahl moved, is there a second?
A second.
Martha Leeper, call roll please.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Welding.
Yes.
Okay, and then when we move on to consent agenda, does anybody have any questions with that? So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Eric Pearson, I'll second. Call roll please.
Welding,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
It's every other one. I feel like I go loud, some
Yeah.
say loud, some loud, some.
Okay, now the superintendent's report.
Okay, for my report, we're gonna start off with the building principals, to let them talk to you a little bit about how they have wrapped up the end of their school year. And, as I mentioned before, we'll start with Mr. Field and, let him go and we'll work our way down to the primary building.
I think you're getting all stuff.
Well,
You can sign
it's been a different kind of busy at the end of this year. It's always a busy time, but, this has definitely been a test. There's different things going on we're not used to. I would say that probably the biggest thing as of late will be culminating at the end of this week, with graduation. And, we had, several different ideas going in, and as things kept changing and progressing with the pandemic, we had to switch things up multiple times. And we'll do, this Saturday, at the normal time that we would have had graduation, we're gonna be doing a virtual graduation online. We looked at a few different platforms and stuff, and I knew who I needed to call first off as soon as I decided that, I talked to the leadership team and talked to Mr. Meadows and the attorneys and stuff about the way we need to move. I said, this is having to do with all things electronic. I'm gonna call John Gurecki and we're gonna put our heads together and figure out how we make this happen. And Mr. Gurecki's been incredible, with the work he's been able to do on this and to help out with the planning and stuff. I just can't thank him enough. And then Joe Scanavino as well, with, of course, putting the senior video together, which is the favorite part of all the students, and I think even the people that come, they love the senior video, so it's great to be able to still share that with everybody. Saturday at 7 o'clock, YouTube premiere, there will be a link going out to everybody, and I'll try to get it out there on social media, and I'm reminding things too within the next day or so. We've already kind of tweeted about it a little bit. Mr. Gretzky got started. And then the homepage for SangamonValley.org too, if you go there at 7 o'clock on Saturday, will be the presentation. It will go live at that time, and I think Mr. Gretzky said it'll be about 45 minutes. A little different. Instead of calling names, obviously, and walking across the stage, we don't have that. So each student's going to have 30 seconds, those that submitted videos, to, kind of say who they are, what their plans are, and, maybe share a little something that they are going to miss about SV, or that they loved about Sangamon Valley, or just that, whatever. We just kind of left it up to them to do. And I haven't seen any of it yet. It's going to be fresh to me on Saturday when I watch it, but Mr. Gretzky says he did not think we were going to be disappointed. He thought that the kids did just a tremendous job. He said you could really tell, those students that were very comfortable with it and used that as a good means of communication, that they did an awesome job and were very creative and inventive with it. And they really took it and made a bad situation, and not an ideal situation that we had, really something positive. And I just can't wait to see it. Like, I kind of was turned off by the idea, and then the closer we got to it, just thinking, well, we're not going to have anything. We're not going to be able to do anything. We got to do something. And this was the best option, really, that we had after looking at it. But now the closer that we're getting, I'm really excited about it. So I think it's going to be unique. It's going to be memorable for the students, even though we're not all there together in the hot sun with people just all on top of it. Because, I do love that, even though it is kind of miserable at the same time when you're in there when it's a really hot night. But I think this is going to be really good, even though it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same kind of fellowship, but I think it'll be cool for everybody to be able to see it world premiere that night, and they can get excited about it. And then they can watch it over and over and over again. It's like the favorite VHS tapes from back in the day for me. And I think that we can make that still a very special experience for the students. And that's what I hope it is. And I think we got most of the kids gave us something. There was only a handful that didn't submit anything, but they will be included as well. We'll have a senior headshot for them. We also, I think, included the awards and scholarships since the awards night didn't happen. That'll be, I think, included on there with their presentation. And then we'll go through it, and then if we're able to get together later on, so be it. But we do have several students that they'll be leaving for the service about June 1st, if not before or later, depending on what goes on. So there's going to be some percentage of students that aren't going to be able to make it later. So I think this is good for them as well, so that they can be included, they can be all part of this. And we'll just enjoy it all as a family. I think it'll be good. I spoke to Golden Cord today, and they have decided that on June 14th, it's a Sunday, they're going to do they don't have the medallions yet because the Jostens plant was shut down, and we're not able to get the medallions made, but they're getting ready to start production back up. So they're going to get those. They're hoping by the end of May, and then they're planning for June 14th. They're going to do a parade through Iliopolis, since it's the Iliopolis Community Service Club, and they're going to go through town. They're going to have a route. They're going to start at the school and the Methodist Church there, I think, and just give everybody a bag with their medal and the speech and things like that, and then they're going to kind of lead them through town for those that want to participate, and hopefully have a good opportunity for community members to kind of hoot and holler for them, and cheer them on, you know, as they move on to that next step for those that are gonna be able to participate. We had a tremendous number of kids that got golden boards this year. I think it was, in the upper thirties for a class of 58, which was pretty crazy, and it was their 40th year, so I know they were excited to be able to share that with the students in some way, and I think that they have found a pretty viable option for doing that, because it is such a tremendous organization honor for them to bestow on our students. And, wow, 40 years, I mean, that's some staying power right there, so I think that's pretty much what we've had going on, basically, just trying to get some materials back and grades finished up and stuff, but had a tremendous response from the parents about how everything's been going.
As
They've
we
been- it's
as we
awesome.
finished
Every
up-
parent I've talked to is very thankful, so I think everything's going well. I mean, given the circumstances, as well as they can go, and every time we think we're getting it figured out, so we don't get too comfortable.
As we finished up the year and they did the learning online, how did that go? Were we able to add to their grades? Were they able to finish what they needed? Did we have issues with some of them doing that, or?
We had very few issues in terms of the high school. Not everybody did everything, but we had a lot of kids that did work those that needed to. They really worked their tails off to improve their grades. You know, and then some students, you know, that were in some classes hung in there and kept doing their work. I know Mrs. Schrader had a really good showing, from her classes. She was telling me today when she was in. You know, I think it's like anything like this. We started out pretty strong with more folks doing it, and then as we went along, interest kind of dwindled. But I think there were still pockets. I think it was we had a pretty good run considering, you know, how it all went down and how sudden it was and stuff for folks, getting in there and getting things taken care of. But those that needed to work, for the most part, did. Like I said, we had very few that just kind of blew it off. But, you know, that was, it was what it was. The teachers did a great job of making connections. And I told them that's your number one priority. Make connections with these students, reach out to them and see how they're doing, and then you provide them with some good learning opportunities. And they did that, and they checked in early and often, and I thought they did a great job. And then they engaged the students, and I had so many parents say it was, you know, great just to, you know, they just got, you know, a nice email or a funny joke or, you know, something. It was great for them to see the teachers really taking an interest in their kids and seeing how they're doing. Just asking, hey, how's it going? Just checking the temperature. You know, that was, I think, a big deal for the parents, because they said, you know, we get it. We know how hard this is. And we know how hard you guys are working to help us out here at home. So I don't have any hard data on numbers and stuff outside of the first couple weeks we started, you know, in terms of percentage of folks working. So we did have 100% of teachers make contact with all of their students. So I thought that was a great number there. So.
Okay. Moving on to Brian now.
Thank you, Mr. Field.
You're welcome.
I guess I would have one other question. I know we had to dole out some, whether it be Chromebooks or computers of some sort. Were we able to collect all that back from everyone for the most part?
I think from the seniors, if I can speak for Mr. Field, I think the seniors will return theirs. The kids that are coming back, we still have, we plan on collecting them. Hopefully we don't have to start with them at the beginning of the school year, but if we do, they'll have them and ready.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
Correct. I'm collecting them from the seniors. I decided within the last week to just let the underclassmen keep them, just on the odd chance that we do not start back in the fall. That way we do not have to go about trying to get them to everybody again. They've already got them. I know where all of them are, and I know what serial number they are and where they're at. But yeah, if they're senior, I know they're not coming back. We've been making plans to say they get those into us. So.
Okay. So Brian?
Everyone, hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Good to see you guys in there. I can only see Mark and Beth, and I don't know what else is in there now, but
We've got James and Jeff and Eric by telephone, and then Roger, Reed, and Glenda Welby is here as well, so.
Well, it's at least good to see you two and hear everybody's voice and see the boardroom in there. This just goes right along with, I feel like I've been telling everybody that the word of the year is weird. I mean, this is all weird, it's confusing, that's another word. Just trying to figure out how to do things as we go. I've heard a lot of people talk about how, we don't really have a playbook, but I'm just making it up as we go. Hopefully things will be better in the fall. That this is the route that we have to go. But start off with the eighth grade promotion. Just like Mr. Field said, I was going to give a huge shout out to Mr. Grecki. He is a wonderful asset for our school district. I talk to people when I'm talking about Mr. Grecki, and I've talked to other people who have talked about our school district, and they talk about how great working our website is and how functional it is and easy to navigate, and it's just, I feel like it helps our computing just so that we're kind of ahead of the times in that, and that's a good testament to him. But he came out and filmed, I guess it was yesterday, and I just did a brief talk, kind of like what I would do with this great promotion. It was adapted. I didn't really necessarily like how I turned out in the video, but it's not really about me. So. But we just gave a congratulations to the eighth graders, which gave us opportunity to do that. And once that talk was over, he included a picture of every one of the eighth graders with their names down below, and pomp and circumstances playing in the background. So I think that was a nice touch, it was a nice tape. And I think the kids will like it. And by the way, this has not been publicized, so I don't know how this is going out there tonight on recording the video, but we plan on letting our students know that this is available in this coming days. We haven't finalized how we're going to do it because it's not like the YouTube thing where we're going to have a time to do it, it's just going to be posted. So we're not really fighting the clock on that. I've been thinking about coordinating this Monday, sent out an email to our staff, and we've got about 8 or 9 staff members who are going to show up on Monday, and we're just going to deliver their promotion certificates along with a balloon, a cookie, and just like a little certificate thing from Sarah's Life. Just looks nice to say that on it. And I'm hoping that's a nice touch. I hope that the media appreciates that. But the 9 of us will divide it up, and we'll go out to individual houses and we'll take, the doorbell, congratulations, and good luck. Now we transition to high school. So we've got that going on. We'll probably just coordinate the video with Monday, since that's the day that we're going to be doing it. We can go check it out on Facebook. We'll put it on the Facebook page. So
Great.
as far as grading goes, and my perspective of this is in a little bit different because the middle school and intermediate did things differently. And so I was going to talk about both briefly. In the middle school, the teachers decided early on we kind of put our heads together, and I thought maybe we should stay away from the Google Classroom just because we hadn't really been set up fully focused that way. But the teachers wanted to just give it a shot and try it, and they did. And pretty much the only feedback I heard from Google Classroom was in a positive side of things. So a lot of interactions. The thing I kept hearing was that our students were bored and that they would want to log on there and do work. Now how true that is, I don't know. It's hard to gauge all of this because you hear bits and pieces, you hear stories here and there, and you hate to communicate those little pieces of information and make someone think that that's the overall feeling, and that may not be true. And that's been a part of what's been so difficult about this whole experience is the communication piece. But the things I heard were positive, and I think the teachers felt comfortable with some of the scores that they were giving them, even though the thing I told them early on was, make sure that we're not giving them any new content. All the skills already learned. So the way the grades turned out at the middle school, they were instructed to, make them in the first grade was given, and that we wanted to make sure that fourth quarter grade was not going to be less than the third quarter grade. So as soon as this does not do anything, if I would have we just simply transfer the third quarter grade on the fourth grade. Now, is that the best way to do it? I don't know. But that's the route we're supposed to go, and hopefully we make a plan for the future. And if that's not the route we want to go, obviously it's not going to be enough for new instruction to take place. If we have to do this in the fall, there's no way we're going to be able to continue to review skills. We're going to eventually have this where it's learning new things, obviously. So that's going to look a little bit different. But so that's the middle school side of the thing. The intermediate side, they passed out packets. We did 2 official rounds of packet pass out, and then on the last day of material selection, we passed out 1 more round of packets for total 3. And we told parents that it was up to them on how they want to finish out the year. This will take them to the end of the year, and it won't be concerned that the teachers are doing that in the grade. And so when the teacher looked at that material that came in, the first 2 packets, and this round came in, they graded it, and the way we thought the most fair way to go there was just to, if they were going to increase the third quarter grade, then, I'm sorry, Bethany, what? You're distracting me, Bethany. They were going to increase the third quarter grade, it was going to be by 10 percentage points at the most. And so they could increase their score by 1 letter grade at the end of the year.
Okay. Kind of have a little lag there, I think, too. All right, so do we need to move on to Bethany?
Yep.
Having a hard time hearing over here.
Bethany, are you there?
I am here, sorry. I shout out to the teachers. They did an amazing job trying to wrap up this school year, the craziness. We had 2 packet pickups just like Brian did, and they got stuff together within a couple days. It was just amazing. They were in there before. I was just amazed. We did a great job, or they did a great job doing all of that. We did the standard-based grading for the 4th quarter. We're going to be sending that out on Friday. I'm going to go in there tomorrow, get those printed, and get them in envelopes. Teachers were able to use some of the things that they got back. The parents that picked up the material, some of them dropped off some of their work, and I told the teachers, if you want to see the work, you're welcome to. Some of those teachers did take it home and flip through, so it's just pretty much based on their knowledge. We have also had 100% communication with parents. Teachers were able to communicate with parents through phone, text, email, a whole slew of different ways to communicate. So the teachers did an amazing job during this whole situation. So hats off to them. I appreciate all the work that they've done.
And I think you guys are all meeting soon about what we can potentially do if this happens again, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. or sometime around then and try to talk about what this would look like if we have to do this again in the fall. I'm hoping that we do not, but we still need to have a conversation about it and try to start working.
We can follow up on that next month. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Do we want them on board any
I
longer?
think we could probably let them go,
Okay.
take a second, and I'll shut that down.
Okay.
But thank you guys for taking part in this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, Angie?
Yeah, we have really been going at it. You probably can hear them going at it in the hallways still tonight. But all of the HVAC demo, as you can see from our beautiful wall there in the back, they've been removing the old units and obviously preparing for the new ones to come in. So all the HVAC demo is done in all of the buildings, I'm pretty certain. Maybe some of the bigger units, like in the gymnasiums, that sort of thing, they will be working on still, but, the majority of that has been done. And right now they're running a lot of conduit and, cabling for the electric and the security systems and cameras. Window removal, I believe, is set to begin on Monday, weather permitting, at the primary building in Harristown, and then, the mastic that secures those windows in place, they found that does contain asbestos, so, they will close the rooms off, and they'll actually, build a containment area outside of the school and pull the windows out, do the outside, and remove it that way, so I'm very interested to see what that'll look like, and, but that starts Monday at Harristown, and I think they're saying 3 weeks to remove all of the windows there, and then they'll come to the high school. They're doing very little window work here at the high school compared to what they're doing at the other two campuses, and then they'll move on and finish at the middle school. And hopefully all of that will be done by mid-June, and then we can start putting stuff back.
And is that remove and replace, I assume,
Mhm.
at the same time, same?
That I don't know. I don't think the windows are here yet. Although I would imagine it'll be remove, seal up as best they can, and then remove the abatement equipment until the windows come in. And then, I included an updated enrollment as of today. Bethany had 6, I don't know if they were new kindergartners, but ones that were not on our previous, projected enrollment. So this is updated. Some of my numbers, I don't think necessarily matched, but they do now. And you can see that we're down a little bit in the primary building, down a little bit in the intermediate. Middle school is boosted by the big 6th grade class that we have, 67 students, and then the high school's down a little bit. And total district enrollment, again, that doesn't include pre-K, and it does not include our students that go into Decatur, for services. That number does not include those students as well. So, we're looking at 641 housed here in district plus pre-K. And those numbers are subject to change. I will continue to update those as we kind of move forward. I guess the only discouraging part is that we're seeing a lot more 40s than we're seeing 50s and 60s. And it'd be really nice to see the mid-60 numbers all the way across the board, but.
What did you end up doing? I totally missed out on kindergarten registration. Did you do anything this spring with it? Screening and?
I thought they did a kindergarten screening and, I don't know, I'm gonna have to.
Before we went into all this, I mean, it would have happened normally during the pandemic, so I wondered what.
I think they had screening in early March before all this happened, but
Before, okay.
I don't want to say that absolutely did
Okay.
happen. I'll have to check with Bethany and find out for sure.
And then as far as, like enrollment for this coming year, are we gonna open it early via the internet and then just do something closer to the start of school?
We'll do something very similar like we did last year, that we'll do online registration. I don't have those dates with me,
Okay.
but I think we're looking still, at even with it being pushed back, we're still gonna try to start a little bit early on that, in early August, and I can bring numbers, more, I guess, sound numbers to the August board meeting.
And it would be time to think about a district newsletter too.
That's what
And
we've
if I
talked
could go
about.
ahead and get on their calendar now.
Yeah, cause we talked about trying to get something out, just
Maybe
sort of right about the time that right before we're gonna start registration, and then it could have the registration info, it would have the summer work, and then also anything that we may have to change or do because of the pandemic, anything that'll be different in the buildings, anything that'll be different protocol wise or whatever, so.
So that's, we're talking end of July then.
Well, if they're gonna start that early, yeah. If you're gonna do a regular enrollment timeframe, cause isn't that kind of the first week in August usually? Yeah.
Okay. I'll call them and get on the calendar.
Okay. Alright. Next.
New business? Next is the amended budget, and as I mentioned in my note to you guys, last week, the ed fund came in about $70,000, deeper in the red than what I had initially projected. And, I was trying to figure out why I was off as much as I was, and, I found the cost of our transition to Skyward. We're moving to Skyward for our financial software for the district. Our current software, which I believe was SDS, is no longer supported. It's kind of gone away, and Carol did some research and looked around at other districts, and it seemed to be like Skyward was what everybody was going with. And so we transitioned to that, and there's about $35,000 of training and the transfer of data, and then support that will come along with that through the transition. Carol's been working on that. It has, with all of this, I guess it's been a little bit of a silver lining, in that she's had an opportunity to sit down and focus on that, probably more than she cared to. But we still had business as usual in the unit office, so she's been kind of doing both. So I really appreciate her hard work and her effort with this, but, so I did not have that in the budget. That accounts for some of that. And then, we've had a lot of students this year, a couple that are in residential. We also had a lot of homebound instruction this year, more so than we probably had, in the previous years. And those are things that, you know, you can't really budget for, and, that's why we do an amended budget, is to show where those additional expenditures, have kind of come up throughout the course of the school year. So, we've also spent, which I guess I kind of knew that we were gonna spend, obviously, as I signed the POs to purchase these things, but I'm just, kind of let everybody know that we have spent quite a bit of money on Faunus and Pinnell, our reading series, over the course of the last few years, and I'm hoping that, after this year's $30,000 that we spent, that we're done spending, on that. I'm hoping that we have all the materials at this point that we need.
Are we all in it now? Everybody that's, all the classes that are going to be, up to
Probably
5, are we
up
all?
to
I think
Yeah,
we're up to 5.
Up to 5.
And we have materials for that. I purchased some, shelving units to go into the buildings, excuse me, the intermediate building for their reading materials and that sort of thing. So I think we have everything in place, and we'll be ready to go, when we get back in school in the fall. Operation maintenance, we always have a little bit more overtime than what I project, and again, that's kind of the cost of doing business and trying to fix things and make the buildings look nice. And all the guys have worked really hard throughout the school year to continue to improve and make our buildings more suitable and a better learning environment for our kids. So operation maintenance, typically anytime that we have overages in that, it seems like it's either equipment that we would have to buy that we didn't plan on, maybe like a mower or a tractor or something like that, but mainly it's strictly manpower. That's our biggest expense in all of our funds, our teachers and our support staff. But it came in about $10,000 deeper in the red than I thought. And then as you look across debt service, the reason that is showing red is that when you put this budget together, we're in the process of, well, I'm gonna ask you to do that tonight, as a matter of fact, to move $213,000 to cover interest payments in our 2019 bonds that we just took out in the fall. So we're moving money around for that, and then that shows up, at least on the initial part of the budget, as a deficit. And then, moving over to transportation, I gave you a number originally in, my note to you that the state was going to short us, I believe it was somewhere around 126,000, does that sound right?
Yeah.
Well, there was another part of transportation that didn't include in that, there's special ed transportation reimbursement and regular transportation reimbursement. I did not add the, special ed transportation deficit in there. I have added that since, and it is more of the tune of 185,000 that the state, is going to short us in transportation this year. Maybe they'll send us another payment, I really doubt it. But, again, one of the positives of this is that we have been able to save a little bit of money in fuel.
Like not running buses.
But again, we still have to pay staff,
Mhm.
and that, as I said, is our biggest expense. Capital projects, same thing, I'm projecting that we'll take out about 17, or $1.7 million, to pay Engie. We've not done that yet, I've not seen any invoices for a while from them, and I thought that we would pay, a little bit as we go, so there is a chance that we will get through, the end of the fiscal year and not have that, $1.7 million payment. We have paid a little bit of that out already, but, not that much. And one of the things that with the amended budget, which always seemed odd to me, is that you do the amended budget, I present it to you, I put it on display, that I can go in and tweak that right up to the end of June. And, so I will do that, and then I will come back in July and present starting numbers for each fund that we're gonna start off the fiscal year with. And we can kind of go back and see how that final number compares to this, but I always wonder what the best way to present this to you guys, and I really don't know other than just going through some of the numbers, but I kind of highlighted the ones that, that we saw what looks like significant changes, but if you go to page 3, which is the second page of the amended budget, you'll see the estimated, ending fund balances. And you can see from that, though we have deficit spent in both the ed and operation and maintenance fund for the last probably 4 years, those numbers, if you look back when I took over as superintendent, those numbers were higher, but
We've accomplished a lot of things in the last few years.
we really have, roofs and science labs and, greenhouses and curriculum, a lot of improvements in both of those areas, so, and again, those things, it takes money to do that, so, but I think the buildings, I'm very excited about seeing the end project, in the fall with Angie, and, I think it's gonna be such a nice, environment for the kids.
And staff.
And staff, absolutely. I'm sure both groups will be very appreciative of it. So that's kind of the amended budget. Does anybody have details, or questions? Like I mentioned before, if you wanna sit down and go through this in more detail, I would be more than happy to get the entire budget out, and we could look at line item, if you wanna do that.
Hey, I had a question on the transportation payments.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a dumb question or not, but since school's been canceled, is there any reason to expect any more payments? Are those already owed to us, or they were coming, or how does that work?
We're behind.
They're owed.
They owe us payments, and what I have in this budget, I think that's all we'll be receiving. And typically, it seems like we usually receive 3 payments. 3 of our regular fiscal year payments, and then we get kind of one thrown in the next fiscal year to start everything up. I would suspect that that's what they will do again, but, we only received 2 payments this year in transportation, and I don't expect that will receive another.
So we're short
So we're-
another one,
yes.
above and beyond the one that we're always short.
Yes. And probably, I'm not gonna say justifiably so, but, we have been able to save some money, fuel-wise, like I mentioned, so. It kinda is what it is.
Any other questions? Okay, so I need a motion to accept the tentative amended 2019-2020 budget as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
Linda Weldy, call roll please.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
Okay, and then we need a motion to set the hearing for the amended 2019-2020 budget as part of our regular board meeting on June 17th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion for that? So moved by
That was Eric.
Eric Pearson. Is there a second?
I'll second. Jeff
Jeff
Stahl.
Stahl. Call roll please.
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy,
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes. Okay. And then we go on to your move of working cash.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the budget report, we need to move some working cash into debt service, for the sole purpose of paying interest on our, Series 2019 bonds.
Okay, so do I have a motion to transfer $213,794 from working cash fund to the debt fund?
So moved.
I'll make a motion. Jeff Stahl.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, seconded by Jeff Stahl. Call roll please.
Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes.
Next up, I will ask that we renew our IESA membership, for next school year.
Now
And-
auditors.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one, I apologize. As I mentioned in our report, we have to have an outside audit, excuse me, every school year, that's required by law. And, I would recommend that we hire Floyd and Associates to do that again this year. They have been pretty consistent, they usually increase their fee about 3% each year. And this year it is up to $9,600, but I would recommend that we hire Floyd and Associates. They're very helpful people and good people, and, Carol likes them, I like them, and they do a nice job, so I would recommend that we have those
Okay,
people
so
come back.
motion to hire Floyd and Associates as our auditors for the 2021 school year at a cost not to exceed $9,600.
So moved.
Motion made by Roger Reed. I'll second it. Call roll please.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Jeff, you still there?
Yeah. Yes.
Weldy,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Now I.
Now we can do the ISA.
Do we get a rebate for this year since there wasn't track?
I doubt if we get a rebate.
good thought though.
Mhm.
But it's something that we have to do. IHSA charges no membership fee, and I think they recoup a lot of their costs through the, different regionals and sectionals and state series. A pretty good moneymaker for them, where IESA doesn't, bring in that kind of money, so they charge a little entry fee for that, and that's fine.
Okay, so we need a motion to renew the IESA membership for the 2021 school year at a cost of $955 to the district.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
Glenda Weldy, call roll please.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Pearson? Reed?
Yes.
Okay. Propane.
Evergreen FS, they were the only company to bid, and I didn't remember that from last year, but they were the only ones that actually presented a bid last fiscal year, so, they came back very competitive. Propane came in at 99 cents a gallon. Diesel was $1 and 37.5 cents, and unleaded was 105, which all of those are significant decrease from last year.
Okay, so then we need a motion to award the propane, diesel fuel, and unleaded gasoline bids to Evergreen FS for the 2020-2021 school year.
So moved.
Motion made by Eric Pearson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Martha Leeper, call roll please.
Weldy?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Kent? James?
You still there, James? Lose him?
You see two names at the top?
I see Eric, Jeff, and James. Are you guys there?
I'm still here, and Nick is.
Okay, I'm gonna vote Leeper, Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
Oh, you started us, sorry. Kent.
So Jeff, can you hear us?
Yeah, oh, there.
James is trying to call in.
There you go.
So
What do I have to do?
you answer, and then it'll say, merge. Hit the merge.
Hold and accept?
Oh, yeah, hold and accept.
James, you there?
Yep. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
James,
Okay,
we're
good.
voting on the fuel bids to Evergreen. Are you in favor?
I was, yes.
Good, thank you. Okay, that's everything.
Okay. And then on to trailers.
I came to you, I believe it was last month, and talked about the possibility of purchasing a trailer, and that, and maybe even longer ago than that, we were looking at a new trailer from Trotters, one that's a lot nicer than our current trailer, that is large enough to move our tractor safely, and our scissor lift, which we do move around from building to building quite a bit. Since they spec'd us out the price of a new trailer, they actually had a used trailer come in from a mason that it was local, and the only time you ever used the trailer was to haul scaffolding around, which was not very often. And so they gave us a good deal on this used trailer in the amount of $4,470. $5,470. And it has everything that we were looking for in a trailer. So I would recommend that we do that. The only difference is that they initially were gonna give us a little bit of money for our old trailer, but since they have said that they're really not interested in our old trailer, so, which is probably a good thing, because we're gonna need a larger vehicle to pull the new trailer. And I would like to wait and do that. I'd like to come to you in July with, hopefully more than one. I've got a spec for a ton Ford, pickup, not really, well, it is kind of pickup, but it's got a Napa, toolbox, bed on it. And, Dodge is really not interested, and they've got about a 6 to 7 month lead time. So they weren't really interested in quoting us anything. I'm gonna check with Chevy. I don't think we can afford a GMC, but I may look into it as well. But I think we'll probably end up, bringing the Ford to you guys for approval maybe in July. But in the meantime, we'll keep our van, and we'll use the old trailer to get the mowers around. So, I think that's probably the best route for now, so I would recommend that we go ahead and get the trailer, and then in the next fiscal year, we can pick up something to pull the trailer with. Jeff and Jay, I may send you the specs, if I can get a good clean copy of the Ford, and let you guys take a look at it, and if you have any, questions or suggestions, let me know.
Sounds good, yeah,
Yeah, the trailer has, what do they call that, a dovetail? And then the ramps are long enough and they have, supports on them as well, kind of like, braces that, will support the weight of the tractor, skid steer, or, our scissor lift. So yeah, we'll be able to get that on the scissor lift on the trailer. That's the most difficult one. It really sets low to the ground. The other ones won't be that much of a problem.
Okay,
Okay, sound good.
so we need a motion to purchase a utility trailer from Trotters Manufacturing for the amount of $5,470. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Linda Weldy, call roll please.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Pearson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy.
Yes.
And then the last item, we do this every year. We have approved the board attending the IASB Conference in Chicago every year. This year, as of right now, it's scheduled for November 20th through the 22nd. I would recommend that you guys approve that and as many of you attend as possible. It is good professional development for the board, as I say, every school year. And I believe that it's for all the time and effort that you guys put into the district. I think it's the least that we could do for you. So I recommend that you approve that.
So motion to approve the board to attend the annual IASB conference on November 20th to the 22nd of 2020.
So moved.
Motion made by Martha Leeper, is there a second?
Second.
Eric Pearson, call roll please.
Reed,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Weldy,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes?
Kent,
Yes.
Leeper, yes, Pearson.
Yes.
Okay, and then Bob, we had talked briefly about how the bids came in for health insurance. Do we wanna have any discussion on that, or are we just gonna save it all for June?
I gave you guys a copy, and I'm going to mail out, copies of the insurance quotes.
Email them?
I'll email it and I'll mail you guys a hard copy that cannot be here tonight. It's a little easier to look at, but it's something that we need to look at and consider.
When do we have to know by? Do we have time for June?
We can do it in June.
Okay, all right.
The renewal will not take effect until, I believe it's, 1st of September.
Okay. All right, so then, the hearing for the amended 1920 budget will be held on June 17th, 2020 at 6 p.m. with the regular meeting to begin immediately after. And at this point, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Glenda Weldy, is there a second?
Second.
Roger Reed, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.